Welcome, Zombie Bomb. Hey, I seen Chronic made you the head baker of the warband. Congratulations. All right, let's get to the video. Sydney Watson here. Equality is over.
I don't think I can take any more of this.
I don't know how much more of your voice I can take, Sydney. Let's see. Can we? Oh, it's not a mobile. I can't skip for it.
Hi, my name is Sydney. Welcome back to hell. And sponsored by
Let's see. I think that's
and this increasingly aggressive push to include trans-identified individuals in female spaces. And I won't lie, every time I talk about it, I end up feeling like a broken record because it's mostly just me banging pots and pans and shouting that sex is immutable and women's spaces need to be protected. It's all very bad and not good. But we find
Wow, crazy eyes, huh? I can't precisely zoom in here.
Going down, particularly here in the United States, that are going to have massive consequences going forward. And although, like I have mentioned previously, I know a bunch of people are very burned out when it comes to this issue, I would be remiss if I sat back and didn't address it. Because I think we are seeing the erosion of sex-based rights happening in real time. And I don't like it. I personally believe
Well, you don't like it, but you believe women should vote, and the majority of women voted for it. I mean, Joe Biden is the president. I didn't vote for him. Obviously, you didn't vote for him, but a majority of women did vote for him, supposedly.
Believe, along with, I'm assuming, a lot of you, that the mockery of women and womanhood has been happening for quite some time. But now it seems to be accelerating at an alarming pace. And even in the last month alone, event after event after event has taken place that has demonstrated, at least to me, that these governments and judicial bodies are just not remotely on our side. To date, we have been ridiculed.
Oh boy, what do we have here? Is that Dylan? That looks like could be Dylan Mulvaney. I don't know. That's kind of funny.
By iconic brands like Nike,
What,
and
what in the actual fuck are we looking at? Oh, there's Dylan.
Hi. Impressive carrying skills, right? I got some Bud Lights for us.
We are failed again and again by policymakers who have decided that what people feel is more important than what they are.
A major survey in the US found that a plurality
Oh, it's Piers Morgan. Oh, goodness.
of people aged 25 to 34 now think using the wrong pronouns should be a criminal offense.
We have been betrayed by the medical system that has trivialized our complex biological processes.
We already having technical difficulties. I just restarted this damn thing.
Of people aged 25 to 34 now think using the wrong pronouns should be a criminal offense.
We have been betrayed by the medical system that has trivialized our complex biological processes.
Do you believe then that men can become pregnant and have abortions?
Yes.
Black and indigenous.
Oh my goodness.
Birthing people.
Birthing people of color.
Black birthing people and birthing people in our Black birth.
Birthing people of color now, apparently. Okay.
Persons.
And all the while, we have to sit down and shut up while
What in the actual fuck?
people dance around us in woman face. And when we articulate our objection to the current state of things, we are called names, threatened, and in some cases, physically attacked or even face legal action. Because we live in stupid land. So with all of this said,
And who voted for this guy? Not me.
It wasn't surprising when, on April 19, 2024, the Biden administration announced changes to Title IX, a federal law that prohibits discrimination on the basis of sex in any education program or activity that receives federal financial assistance. Mostly you hear about it with relation to university campuses, but it actually applies to all levels of education. So good. The new regulations.
Look, y'all voted for it, so it's y'all's problem to fix. That's the way I see it. I'm not getting involved. I was asked a couple weeks ago in church to sign this petition to ask Governor Newsom to ban troons from the women's restroom and from women's sports. And I refused to sign it on principle because women voted overwhelmingly for Democrats, for Gavin Newsom in this state. And since that's what Gavin Newsom supports, that's what Democrats support. That means inadvertently, that's what women support, whether they realize it or not. And I told the ladies at church, I was much more diplomatic about it. I said, look, elections have consequences. Some people need to learn that a stove is hot by touching the hot stove and getting burned. Because I vote the right way, but it doesn't matter if 8 people for every person that votes like me, 8 people in this state vote the wrong way. And it doesn't matter how many petitions I sign, it's not going to change. So that's where I'm at with it.
Which will go into effect in August, stipulate
I don't like it, but I can't change it myself. So
a bunch of things, but importantly, prohibit discrimination based on gender identity as well, effectively stripping away protections afforded to women under the law that have been in place for actually decades.
It also protects students against discrimination based on pregnancy or related conditions, sexual orientation, and gender identity.
And I realize to some of you that might sound dramatic, but all of this means that under these new rules, trans-identified individuals will have access to women's bathrooms, locker rooms, scholarships, and will be able to participate on women's athletic teams, just to name a few things.
There we go, Leah Thomas. Well, like I said, women voted for it, so it's kind of their problem to fix.
Have also said that the use of preferred pronouns is now mandated and will be enforceable.
The administration will try to obfuscate all of this, but what it says is it will become a federal offense if you do not allow boys to use girls' bathrooms, locker rooms, and other private spaces starting as early as elementary school. It will be a federal offense if you do not use pronouns that are preferred by an individual.
I don't mean to alarm you guys, but we're getting to Canada levels of stupidity here. I
don't care if it's a federal offense. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. I'm not calling you a they if you're one person. The only way I'm calling you a they if you're one person is if you first tell me how many demons are possessing you. And I'll accept any answer of 2 or more, or the word legion will also be acceptable. Then I will refer to you as a they. Otherwise, I'm not addressing a singular person as they, because it's not correct. The only way I'm going to refer to you as they is if I'm talking about your property. That's theirs, that whatever that object is. That's the only way it's correct.
Always wonder what the line is on this type of thing. Like, what if my pronouns are ooga booga? Can I force that on everyone? Can I make
ooga booga? Wonder who's living rent-free in your mind, Sydney. I believe it's pronounced oonga. Oonga.
everyone ooga booga at me? Is this how it works? Honestly, I don't want to get too in the weeds with the Title IX stuff because there's a lot to it, and some of it is going to affect men as well, very negatively. But the point that I want to make here is that when legislators step up and decide to put sex and gender identity on the same playing field, in the same league, we're gonna have a bad time. And that is already playing out over and over and over again. And the first example I want to give you directly relates to this Title IX nonsense. And as long as we're gonna be talking about a bunch of terrible nonsense, you can lighten up the experience with a yummy bowl of cereal thanks to—
No, Sydney, I think Americans eat way too much cereal. We're gonna skip over your cereal ad. think that's why we're all so damn fat. All right.
Flavors. Not too long ago, a video went viral that showed a middle school shot put event in West Virginia. In the video, 5 female athletes are shown stepping out of the competition, refusing to compete against a transgender athlete called Becky Pepper Jackson. In the footage, when each of the girls is called to compete, she steps into a cement ring on the ground, but instead of throwing the shot, she instead does a loop and then steps off of the field. The girls apparently also did this for the discus event. Now, I think it's worth acknowledging that for adults alone,
Well, there you go. If you want to change, you're not happy with what's going on, you need to step up and make a change. I mean, that's the kind of stuff young ladies are going to have to do if they don't want troons competing in their sports, is not participate.
it takes a tremendous amount of courage to walk away from opportunities and the sports they love in order to say no more. And we've been seeing more and more and more of that. But when we have 13 and 14-year-old girls stepping up to do what many adults are still too afraid to do, you know, we have a serious problem. What's really important to know about this situation is that in mid-April, the 4th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals overturned a law in West Virginia that banned transgender girls from playing against female athletes, finding that it violates Title IX.
I mean, this is in West Virginia, even. So, it's in West Virginia. It's all over.
To cut a long
All
story
over the
short,
country.
the bill was signed into law back in 2021 called the Save Women's Sports Act. It basically set a requirement that any official or even unofficial school-based athletic event would decide the athlete's participation based on their biological sex, as listed on their birth certificate issued at the time of their birth.
So none of these birth certificate changes count after the fact.
My apologies to the weirdos on TikTok who are going to cry now.
Something amazing came in the mail today.
What
It's my
in
new
the-
birth certificate.
What in the actual fuck? Identifies as a they, them. It's got the bull ring in the nose. Got a bunch of fake up on. What the hell?
That shows my name, how it is now, and one of my absolute
State of Michigan. Okay. So, this is one of the people that is going to be giving Frost a hard time. And, you know, it's a felony to call him the wrong pronouns up there, apparently. So,
favorite parts is that my sex designation has been changed from female to an X. The X is an
so you're a social media platform now? and you're the short bus of social media, by the way.
all-inclusive marker, and it just makes me so happy.
Womp womp. Feeling a little
This is
mean
dumb.
today. In February 2023, Becky Pepper Jackson wanted to try out for the middle school's track and field team, leading to the appeals court temporarily pausing the state ban preventing transgender students from joining girls' sports teams. The judge who overturned the law for Becky Pepper Jackson, Tom Haytons, I think
Becky Pepper Jackson. Why does it sound like a stripper name? I'm sorry. That doesn't... I don't know.
I said that correctly.
Continuing on.
Wrote, the defendants cannot expect that Becky will countermand her social transition, her medical treatment.
In West Virginia, too. It sounds like a West Virginia stripper name. We still streaming? Let's see. Yes, we are. 4-0 Raisin is here. Hello, Raisin. No Country for Old Men. Yes, I got a clip from that. I'm gonna show. I say we desegregate sports. It's funny to watch troons mock women in sports, so they lose so bad. Yeah, I agree. I agree. So if I put a bow in my hair, I can. If I put a bow in my hair, I can be a wood famous athlete, world famous. Yeah. Yeah, Raisin, you can. World famous women's athlete.
and all the work she has done with her schools, teachers, and coaches for nearly half of her life by introducing.
I mean, here's the thing. Sydney Watson believes women should vote, right? So isn't that equality? So let me ask you something, Sydney.
All right. Let me ask you something. If the rule you followed brought you to this, of what use was the rule? You could have the money.
Yeah, it's not about the money.
Introducing herself to teammates, coaches, and even opponents as a boy. He reasoned.
Yeah, if the rule you followed brought you to this, which this looks like a troon here too, possibly. What's going on here? If the rule you followed brought you to this, Sydney, of what use was the rule?
This was because Pepper Jackson had socially and medically transitioned very early in life and has a birth certificate that designates that the 13-year-old is a female. None of which matters, just by the way, for obvious reasons. I really do just have these moments making these videos where I'm like, we are living through the stupidest period of time. Like, I am willing to say that this period of time is
Yeah, I figured that's what you meant.
stupider than when people believed that lambs came from a plant. No, I did not make that up.
Lambs came from a plant? Is that what people believed? Well, I mean, people used to think salamanders lived in fire because that was the only time they ever saw them. I mean, we know now they live in water and moist areas, but back in the day, the only time someone saw a salamander, they threw a piece of wood in the fire and, oh, there's a salamander. They must live in fire. Reality is the salamander is trying to get away from the fire. So, yeah, I can believe people are that dumb.
That up. Apparently, this was a belief that was held for a period of time in the Middle Ages, and they called it a vegetable lamb. I actually think that's kind of adorable. But my point still stands. To put all of this into perspective, because the judicial system has so wholly failed these female athletes, the girls themselves are having to do what many adults cannot. And that is to take a stand in order to protect themselves and others. Because nobody seems to be listening to the countless women and girls who are screaming from the rooftops that all of this is not only unfair, but puts them at unnecessary risk. Is this what
Again, y'all voted for it.
Hating the government does to you? It like makes you kind of want anarchism a little bit? Is that what this is?
Around the same time,
Don't think you really want anarchism, Sydney. I'm just saying, I don't think that's what you really want.
that all of this was going on, another clip of a trans-identified track and field runner called Aiden Gallagher from Sherwood, Oregon, went viral after it showed the child absolutely smashing female competitors. Gallagher won the girls' varsity 200-meter and 400-meter races only days after dominating Heat 1 at the Sherwood Need for Speed Classic event. In a now-deleted interview after one of the races, Gallagher expresses that the goal is to be the top in the state in the girls' events. Just to be clear as well, it seems like most of the information about these races has been scrubbed from the internet, probably because people don't like seeing girls getting beaten in their own sports like this. But there are some screenshots and whatnot floating around if you are interested.
But we're all equal, right? Aren't we all equal? That's what egalitarians think. Yeah, does this look equal? Biological male, all the females are not even on the screen yet.
And 400-meter races only days after dominating Heat 1 at the Sherwood
Yeah, we're equal, huh?
Need for Speed Classic event.
Look
In
at
a
that.
now-deleted interview after one of the races, Gallagher expresses that the goal is to be the top in the state in the girls' events. Just to be clear as well, it seems like most of the information about these races has been scrubbed from the internet, probably because people don't like seeing girls getting beaten in their own
Gee, I
sports like
wonder
this.
why.
But there are some screenshots and whatnot floating around if you are interested yourselves. Here's the thing.
I'm not interested enough to look it up, but anyway.
right? And I know that I'm a broken record at this point, but I really do think that this needs to be said and reiterated again and again. Rather than people realizing how negatively all of this impacts women and girls, and especially female athletes and these poor female students, they instead turn around and seal clap for all of this perceived tolerance and inclusivity. And I mean that quite literally. Only a few days ago, a woman called Michelle Aleva, which I'm probably mispronouncing, but I don't care, that's how it's written, posted to X about a women's hockey league that forced attendees to recite an inclusion pledge prior to the game. And no, I'm not joking. The Sport a Rainbow pledge was displayed at a professional women's hockey league game on Wednesday evening at TD Place in Ottawa, Ontario. In her post, Aleva wrote, "I went to a professional women's hockey league game last night. Before the game, the audience was asked to read the following pledge out loud together. Part of the intention is to train the audience, which was full of young girls, to accept boys in their sport and to vilify people who don't. The pledge itself read, I understand that all athletes, coaches, and competitors deserve to participate in sport free of judgment. I will help by speaking up against hateful speech and actions in my sport."
Yeah, not gonna.
Again, y'all voted for this shit. Y'all voted for this shit. I don't hear you saying, hey, maybe we're too stupid to vote, Sydney. I don't hear you saying that. I hear Pearlie say that once in a while, but I don't hear very many people like you that claim to be conservative saying that, yeah, women are kind of dumb. Some of the shit we vote for is kind of dumb because we're ruled by our emotions and our feelings. I'm just saying, it is what
lie. Pretty obvious what that's in reference to. It's 2024, and I guess a hateful action is not wanting to get your knees ripped out by a boy in a dress.
Perhaps the worst part is that this trend of ignoring the impact of gender ideology specifically on young girls, and then forcing those same young girls to take monumental stances to try and defend themselves against a well-funded, well-armed ideological behemoth, isn't even really contained to sports. About a week after the Aidan Gallagher event got a ton of attention, yet another clip went viral that showed a young girl talking at a school board meeting in Pennsylvania. The girl, who I'm going to call Girl A because this is going to get confusing really quickly, told the board that a student at her school, a male who identifies as a girl, had threatened to harm another student who I'm going to call Girl B. As of filming, I'm not going to show you guys the clip of this young girl talking because YouTube definitely has some very strong rules around children and violent events, even though we don't see any violence whatsoever, but I just would like to be safe and maybe post-edit Sydney will make a different decision. But essentially, Girl A explained that she, along with two of her friends, had warned the school's guidance counselor that the trans-identified student had threatened to harm Girl B. She also said that Girl B herself,
so the trans-identified student, the boy, the boy, if we're speaking normally here,
had every day also reported the threats to the same teacher. The teacher said that nothing would happen and essentially brushed it off. A few hours later, the trans-identified student brutally assaulted Girl B. Girl A, speaking at the school board meeting, said that she was second on the trans classmates hit list and tearfully spoke about witnessing Girl B being brutally attacked and the aftermath of watching her friend's blood basically get cleaned off of the room where she was attacked and off of the floor and everything. Towards the end of her testimony, Girl A gets very choked up, and honestly, it's really hard to watch, explaining that she shouldn't have had to watch the event that unfolded, seeing Girl B bloodied and harmed and getting basically taken away by the adults. I know this is going to seem like a really obvious statement, but it is actually ridiculous that we have gotten to a point where we are allowing young girls to not only lose out on opportunities, but to even be demonized and assaulted and traumatized in the name of tolerance. Not to mention expecting these kids to have to stand up in the first place because adults can't and won't. Or you have the other side of that where adults are completely letting these young people down and not remotely thinking about protecting them. Even without the Title IX changes on the horizon, there has been a major shift away from rationality towards activism and indoctrination. But collectively, a lot of this is going so far as to strip away sex-based rights and then deny us the ability to speak out about it. I personally am
I don't know why that was acting up. It wasn't pausing there. Okay, what was she saying? Something about sex-based rights.
Is going so far as to strip away sex-based rights and then deny us the ability to speak out about it.
I'm sorry, what sex-based rights are you referring to, Sydney? I'm just curious what rights that you think that you have as a female that are being stripped away from you because transgenders are now in your sport or whatever it is that you're bitching about. I'm just curious, because isn't this equality? I mean, this is, you know, again,
Let me ask you something. All right. Let me ask you something. If the rule you followed, Roger it is, of what use was the rule?
yeah, if the rule you followed, which is equality, brought you to this, of what use was the rule?
Personally am not prepared to continue to watch women be mocked and ridiculed and disrespected and put in harm's way in order to accommodate.
Well, you say that as if that's our problem. It's not our problem as men to fix that. That's your problem to fix, Sydney. You got to get the women to stop voting like 80% Democrat if you want that fixed.
Accommodate gender ideology. The bottom line is that too many people have fought too hard for too long for academic and athletic opportunities to have them suddenly ripped away because a tiny fraction of the population feel uncomfortable in their own skin. And those who see nothing wrong with any of this, especially the women who pander to this ideology to appear tolerant and inclusive, are placing the burden of all of this on the shoulders of young girls and young female athletes. And that's not okay. In the end, gender ideology is changing the shape of our social fabric as we know it. And in my opinion, if we allow women's rights and spaces to be eroded further and further, soon they will be too far gone to easily get back. Now, on that very happy and pleasant note, and before I open the floor to all of you, this is just a reminder to check out Magic Spoon using the link in the description.
No, we're not doing that.
But underreacting, reacting appropriately. What do you think of the inclusion of gender ideology in the new regulations? Do you think that that's necessary, unnecessary, that we're going in a really scary direction? What do you think of the situation in West Virginia with the young female athletes and the transgender individual? Do you think that they did the right thing? Do you think that it was unfair that they were put in that situation to begin with? And what do you generally make of all of these situations overall? As always, if you are here at the end of the video, congratulations.
All right, I think that's enough of that. I think she plugged her tea again on that ad I skipped over. So anyway, yeah, if you want some boutique quality tea, don't buy it from Sydney Thoughtson here. Buy it from the tea man at Dragon's Treasure. I actually placed an order with Dragon's Treasure. It's good stuff. I got a sampler pack of black tea, and I got 2 other kinds of tea, and total of 7 teas I got to sample, and 6 of them I thought were excellent, and I'm going to probably order them again at some point. I had to test Mannix promo code, MANIC. That works. You get 10% off. It is kind of expensive, but like I said, it's pretty good quality stuff if you're in the mood for boutique quality tea. Boutique anime inspired quality tea. Anyway, that's enough of that. Got rid of the tab I was sharing. Oops. There we go.
Now, remember when trans activist Dylan Mulvaney?
I think this lady must have had a cleft palate when she was a kid, because I keep saying a real deep crease. Let's see if we can blow this up a little bit. I keep seeing a deep crease, but it's not like right in the center of her like lip, like above it. It's like off to the side. So I think that might be a cleft palate. Not that that matters, but anyway.
He
Interesting.
escaped to Peru to get away from the hate in America.
Okay, surprise! I'm in Peru.
Oh, it's
and I'm
Dylan.
in Machu Picchu. Isn't this just so beautiful? I'm here by myself. I've seen a lot of llamas.
It was till you showed up.
And the people here are so kind. I feel very safe here. It's a little sad that I had to leave my country to feel safe, but that will get better eventually. And I am dying
Keep coping and seething, Dylan.
for some Trader Joe's rolled chili lime chips. But other than that, I am so content. Still have.
Wait, there's a Trader Jose's at Machu Picchu? Really? I don't know. I doubt that.
Haven't been kissed yet, but I'm holding out hope. And most of all, this trip has me feeling like I'm my own best friend again. And that is the best feeling in the world. And I hope that you feel that way about yourself too.
But we haven't heard from Dylan since Peru.
Oh, maybe I was wrong. Maybe she doesn't have a clef. Maybe not. It just looked like one of those commercials you see where they're asking for charity, and before and after the little kid's got a clef, and then you see that it's been healed. It looked like it was off center. I guess I might be wrong. She might have still had one. I don't know. Hard to say.
Officially classified transgender, non-binary, and intersex people as mentally ill. It's a decision.
I only brought that up because my grandmother had one. So anyway, I just thought it was interesting.
That has been slammed by LGBTQ plus activist groups across Peru, who say it is a major step backward in the fight for their rights and safety.
Based Peru. All right, New York Post. I'll have to look that article up. That'll be interesting to respond to.
Now to an old ad that has gone viral again, and one can understand why. Here is a Malaysian shampoo commercial that is, well, it's different.
Pagi 50 disari dengan nutrisi agar kulit kepala dan rambut kekal sehat dan harum sentiasa.
What the fuck? How are you? What? No offense to the Muslims, but shampoo is meant to be used on your hair, right? I get it. Y'all don't like showing women's hair, but it's not laundry detergent. It's shampoo. It's meant to go on the hair. This is, you could demonstrate, I don't know, how soapy it is or whatever without showing her hair, right? I don't know. Or you could just show some Western thought showing her hair. Or is that just not allowed because it's a Muslim country? I don't know.
Good Lord. Even the Taliban
Doing your shampoo and doing the laundry at the same time.
can't be upset by that. Modesty first. Now let's go to Santiago, Chile, where these...
Is that really lefties, though? Muslims that are that extreme about their stuff? Is that really lefties? I don't know.
Women are dancing for Palestine. If they dressed and danced like this in Gaza, they'd be shot by Hamas.
This is my first time watching this, by the way. This pulled up. It looked like it would be interesting.
But go crazy, ladies.
Was this doing the swim? What do you call that dance? Swimming? What is that?
And we do
Very bizarre.
regularly feature the ladies of The View in this portion of the show. They say
Oh,
so many
why?
stupid things, but it's not just the
Must we feature the ladies of The View? Okay.
female hosts. Their guests, male or female, also tend to say stupid stuff. Here is ABC host and Democrat operative George Stephanopoulos
Oh, it's George Snuffleupagus. Let's hear what he has to say.
admitting that the deep state is real and it's beautiful.
And these are people that come, they're relatively young, people who come from all over the government, the CIA, the DIA, Defense Department, military.
All agencies that need to be cut.
And, some people like to call those people the deep state.
Deep state.
Well, the big thing I learned doing this book is that the deep state is packed with...
I'm sorry. Whoopi, what are you doing with your hair? You're looking like Mr. T. What is this? What are you doing, Whoopi?
Deep state is packed with patriots, people who go to work every single day on the front lines of the most intense crises the country faces and do it to serve their country.
It wasn't too,
Crises that are a lot of times generated by those same people.
too long ago that if you mentioned the deep state, you'd be called some crazy conspiracy theorist. But here we are. George says they exist and they're paid.
Conspiracy theorist, again, a term invented by the CIA to cover up if anyone questions JFK being yeeted by magic bullets that somehow hit the Texas governor, bounced off of him, and blew the back of JFK's head off somehow when the shots are allegedly coming from behind, which makes zero sense. But, that's where the term conspiracy theorist originated from. Anyone that said there was a second, long distance hole puncher with a submachine gun on the grassy knoll, anyone that said that, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist, even though there's multiple witnesses claiming that. But anyway.
Patriots who hate America. Now to a couple of funny comics who are off the left, but they're still droll and clever and generally liked by all sides of politics. Bill Burr and Bill Maher came together for Maher's podcast, but it didn't go as well as you'd expect.
First of all, I don't think you could change the oil in a car, so don't talk about fucking architecture.
I can't, and I wouldn't want to.
Oh, let me adjust my glasses. Can I tell you something, Bill? Most of the that you say is not smart. It's just sort of obscure.
It's not obscure to a certain percentage of people.
Yeah, people that are at
I'm
your
not some
altitude.
giant egghead. I'm just
I know you're not that smart.
Yeah, he's not as smart as he thinks he is.
Those two don't seem to like each other. I don't think that whole weirdly passive-aggressive dynamic was put on. It seemed real to me.
Oh, good heavens, what the hell is that shit? I'm not even... Whoop. Yeah, I'm not even going to check out those stuff on the thumbnail there because some of that stuff looked quite disturbing. Okay. I thought this was funny. This is if Titanic was filmed in 2022. I got a laugh out of this. This came up when I searched for that I am the captain now clip.
God. Captain, the lifeboats are ready to go. Should we load the women and children first?
No, men and children first.
Excuse me, sir. It's 2022, Private. A woman can handle a sinking ship just as well as a man can. And if you don't think so, you're misogynistic assholes. 2008. Yes, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, for the time being, I am requiring men and children only.
Are you kidding me?
It's 2022. This is what you wanted. You wanted to be treated equal to men. Well, this is how men are treated. Like
No, we don't. We just say that half the time. We don't actually believe in it.
Yeah, we do. Come on, we're just as capable as men are. Shut up! I identify as a man!
Jack, do you think I could open the door? It's 2022, Rose. I wouldn't want to imply that you can't handle the ice cold water the same way a man could. I love 2022.
Oh, that was good. Oh, that made me laugh. I should become an alcoholic. I wouldn't recommend that. Runs in the family. That makes you more likely to be one. You should not become an alcoholic. Thank you, Zombie Bomb. Maybe you should learn to play pool, though. Some people only go for the pool tables. Yeah, most bars tend to have pool tables. I've never really been good at it, but I've never really gotten a chance to practice it very much. I used to play pool by myself. At the rec center, I ran the table a few times. Well, yeah, you would if you're playing against yourself. I don't know what that means. Yeah, okay. Oh, I know what that means now. Right. Do. Yeah, I do too. Shampoo that my sister got, it had rocks in it. Felt weird, scratched my head. Oh, you mean like charcoal maybe? I think the driver JFK, yeah, maybe. Well, thank you, Raisin. I appreciate that. I am confused by the rock shampoo. Is that real? It was like sand. Okay.